Let's talk to Steven Woolfe, Director of the Centre for Migration and Economic Prosperity, because very good morning to you, Stephen. This rather nice weather today, the hottest day of the year, the spring solstice, just means that, you know, even though we've already had record numbers coming over since the Labour government got in July, it's just going to get worse this summer, isn't it?
I couldn't agree more, Mike. If you're looking at the data and the numbers, you've just mentioned it, the fastest growing set of numbers with people coming across in any time since 2018, with a total of 4,300 so far this year. And that's partly because of good weather that they had, but partly, Mike, because we had the warnings from the Europeans' own security services and border agencies that said that 2.5 million had come across last year from all the major points that enter into the European Union from the people smuggling gang routes. Right. And that means that you're right, with this weather and these numbers already indicating so, I estimate that we'll probably get around 50,000 or 60,000, even possibly hedging up to the 80,000 big numbers that we had a year or two ago.
Right. Well, because, you know, there's no way that the smuggling gangs are going to stop doing what they're doing because they make so much money doing it. And the only incentive for them is to do more of it, because I think they're making somewhere in the region of £1 million to £2 million a week at the moment. And that will just continue, won't it?
Absolutely. Again, the Centre for Migration and Economic Prosperity's estimates show that we've had about £30 million is what they will have made so far. Not bad money for just under 2.5 months. Yeah. So that's a great incentive for them. But the cost to us is over 200 million to feed and fund these people for the first year alone. You know now, through the statistics being shown over the last couple of weeks from other organisations, that 60% of all social housing now is being fed by non-UK citizens. Yeah. That we're spending billions, 7.5 billion, and huge numbers, like huge numbers, on people claiming benefits that weren't born in this country. So this all feeds in eventually into the economy. There's no end to it and no desire. And this is the question I'm now putting to politicians and to those in policy statements. Where is your desire to stop this? Why do you really not put any policies in that can stop this? It only leads to one question. You actually really want it to happen.
Right. I absolutely do. I mean, one warm spell earlier this month apparently saw 10 days of unbroken boat journeys, 2,339 migrants arriving in that one 10-day period alone, which is, you know, over 200 a day. I mean, we get a few more nice weeks of weather like that. It could be another 10 or 15,000 before we even get to the proper summer.
I agree. I think we're going to head for a record year of people coming across on the Channel boats. Again, I think probably up towards the top end of 80,000. We once estimated about 100,000. That fell away. But these are huge numbers, and no one's estimating how this is calculated across the government's budget. No one actually says, if we get 80,000 people coming across the Channel, it's going to cost us X. Yeah. And there's a dereliction of duty on the government and Home Office not to provide the public with the true figures of the cost of unlawful migration into this country.
Well, we found out yesterday, didn't we? The UK spends £3.5 billion, that's with a B, on public services for migrants who are on benefits. You know, and up until relatively recently, we were always told, weren't we, Stephen, that, oh, don't worry, the migrants don't claim benefits, they're not allowed to. Well, that's not true, because we're now spending billions and billions of pounds on them.
Absolutely, and I've been saying this for quite some time. There is the initial stage when they're claiming asylum that they don't get benefits. But once we move them across to say, oh yeah, we've given you the right to remain, they're still not working. They've still not got a job, which is why we see that around 60 to 70% of Afghans are not working and claiming benefits. There's similar sort of numbers for Iranians and Iraqis. And they're the countries that come across the most on the Channel boats. So for them, it's a really easy lifestyle for them to come across here. And when you think about it, no one's putting the numbers together. When they're claiming benefits, they've still got to pay back the people smugglers. So how are they doing that? They're no doubt doing that through some of the money that they're getting from our benefit system, or they're working in the illegal black market.
Yes. Well, we had that ludicrous story, didn't we, as well yesterday, where the one guy who runs a kebab shop has somehow sponsored 900 skilled workers to come into the country on workers' visas. You're not going to tell me that they haven't ended up driving around in some kind of, illegal gang or some kind of scooter mob or something. It's just not sustainable.
It's not, Mike, and this again is one of the other areas that unfortunately we have to blame Boris Johnson, and that was the change in the rules related to skilled workers to assess that you are a skilled worker.
Yeah,
for work.
it's a madness, it's absolutely mad. Steve, we've got to run because we're running out of time. Thank you very much indeed, Steven Woolfe there.